This is the first problem from your study guide on chapter 3 for the test. Got cut off a little bit when I took the picture, but it says to write a chart describing the intervals in which f of x is increasing and decreasing on the given interval, and then you need to say the x-coordinates of the relative minimums and the maximums. So the first thing we want to do is find f prime of x. For this problem isn't bad. Simple power rule, I get 30, which is 6 times 5 times x to the 4th minus 20 x to the reduce it 1 cubed. One of the keys here is that we're working on an interval from negative infinity to infinity, so we don't have to test endpoints. So I'm going to go ahead and factor this thing. 10. I can take an x cubed out of both of them. So I'm going to take 10x cubed out. That leaves me with 3x here, and then a minus 2 for the second term. We want to set that equal to 0. So I know that if x is 0, so that'll make this term 0. So f prime equals 0 if x is 0, or if I solve this thing for 0, I get a positive 2 over 3. So now what I'm going to do is start to make my chart, and I think I'll have enough space here. Let's see. I got x values, and then I'm going to do f prime, and I'm just going to say whether it's positive or negative. So I've got negative infinity to 0, comma, and then I'm going to go vertical, and then I've got from 0 to 2/3, and then I've got from 2/3 all the way up to positive infinity. So I'm going to do what is f prime doing, and then what is f doing. And maybe I will get rid of some of this stuff here. Erase that. Oops. Oops, sorry. Similarly, I can plug in, there's really only one good number to plug in this range right here. 1/3 is easy to plug in, because I know that when I plug in 1/3 here, I get a positive number. And then I'll show my work for this. When I plug in this, in my head, I'm saying to myself, I get 3 times 1/3 minus 2. And that these cancel and give me 1, which it's 1 minus 2, which is equal to negative 1. So I know that this guy is going to be positive, this guy is going to be negative. When I multiply them, I get a negative number. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug in 1 for the last interval. When I plug in 1, I get a positive, and here I do 3 times 1 minus 2, which is the 3 wins, and it gives me a positive as well. So from here, now I know what f prime's doing, so I can say some things about what f's doing. I know that f prime is increasing. Increasing when f prime is positive. I know that when f prime is negative, f is decreasing, and I know that it is increasing here. And remember, that wouldn't count as justification on a AP test, but for this particular test, this question is asking you for a chart that summarizes this stuff, so that's okay. So I'm going to go and it's going increasing to decreasing. I always like to do this. And then here, it's going decreasing to increasing. I like to do that because it helps me visualize what the derivatives tell me it's doing. So from that, I know that at x equal, this transitional value, 0, we get a maximum. And at x equal 2/3, I get a minimum. If this was the AP test, I would have to say max, because the derivative changes from plus to minus, and for this one I would say min, because the derivative changes from minus to plus. But you just won't have time for that on this particular test because there are too many questions. So hopefully you're good to go with that.